In this podcast episode, Dr. Marjorie Woollacott, a neuroscientist and former atheist, shares her transformative journey from strict materialism to embracing consciousness beyond the five senses. The conversation explores a wide array of extraordinary phenomena, including remote viewing, telekinesis, near-death experiences, NDEs, synchronicities, and the intersection between spirituality and neuroscience. Dr. Woollacott offers insights into how expanding one's understanding of consciousness can help transcend anxiety, depression, and fear, while helping listeners cultivate intuition, open to soul messages, and integrate spiritual experiences in their everyday lives. Dr. Woollacott begins by recounting a pivotal moment during a meditation retreat where, despite her skepticism and scientific background, she experienced a surge of energy that she describes as a mini lightning bolt, moving from a Swami's touch to the center of her chest. This profound felt experience awakened a deep sense of love and belonging within her heart and catalyzed a spiritual awakening that shifted her perspective on reality. Though initially baffling from a neuroscientific standpoint, this experience led her to maintain a lifelong meditation practice and to explore how consciousness might extend beyond physical senses and objective reality. Throughout the episode, Dr. Woollacott emphasizes the importance of holding both scientific rigor and openness to subjective experience. She acknowledges that many in the scientific community struggle to explain phenomena such as NDEs, telepathy, and energy healing through conventional neurological frameworks. However, she urges the acceptance of transformational experiences even when their mechanisms remain elusive. Drawing on philosophical traditions and cross-cultural spiritual concepts, such as Kundalini in India, Qi in China, and the Holy Spirit in Christianity, she explains that many cultures describe a subtle energetic system that transcends physical brain activity and filters. Delving into the neuroscience of spiritual states, Dr. Woollacott discusses how meditation and deep relaxation quiet the brain's default mode network, reducing egoic chatter and allowing inner senses to awaken. She highlights research showing that meditators and those who have taken psychedelics experience a loosening of brain filters, which correlates to expanded consciousness. This state of mental quietude also enables access to dream states and memories otherwise inaccessible, such as those experienced during NDEs or hypnotherapy-based regressions. The capacity to enter these altered states is not uniform, but can be cultivated through sustained practice and supportive environments. The conversation explores accounts of non-local consciousness, particularly those reported during near-death experiences. Dr. Woollacott shares examples of individuals who, while clinically dead or unconscious, perceive events happening around them despite no measurable brain activity. These include participants who could accurately describe medical procedures or foresee future occurrences. She also discusses terminal lucidity, when people suffering severe neurological degeneration suddenly regain clarity right before death, which challenges current understanding of brain-based consciousness. This suggests consciousness may not be fully dependent on brain function, pointing to a more expansive view of awareness. Remote viewing, the ability to perceive distant or unseen targets, and telekinesis, moving objects with the mind, are detailed with examples from historical experiments and personal accounts. Dr. Woollacott references research by figures like Julia Mossbridge and Dean Radin, showing that such phenomena have been documented under controlled conditions, though often met with skepticism due to their challenge to traditional physics. She discusses how some individuals possess natural or cultivated abilities to access information beyond normal sensory input, often while the conscious mind relinquishes control to subtler awareness. This introduces the notion that consciousness might influence neuronal activity in unconventional ways. The topic of synchronicity revolves around meaningful coincidences that lack apparent causal connections, yet feel profoundly significant. Dr. Woollacott shares personal anecdotes and historical examples illustrating how synchronous events seem to provide guidance or confirmation on one's path, especially after spiritual awakenings. She aligns with Carl Jung's view that synchronicity arises from an interconnected universal field and becomes more frequent when the individual cultivates openness and surrender, rather than rigid control. These events offer a tangible bridge between inner experience and outer reality. Belief systems play a central role in shaping consciousness and perceived reality. Dr. Woollacott invokes the philosophy of analytic idealism and phenomenology to explain that entities in the material world, including humans, operate within implicit beliefs about time, space, and identity. Transforming these beliefs requires deep inquiry beyond intellectual assent, akin to excavating a thorn beneath the skin. She stresses that our individual and collective beliefs co-create reality, meaning that shifts in consciousness hold potential to influence not just personal experience, but broader societal conditions. This perspective balances personal responsibility with recognition of shared energetic interconnection. While celebrating expanded awareness, Dr. Woollacott emphasizes the need for groundedness and pragmatic living. She acknowledges the tension many face between spiritual exploration and everyday responsibilities like work, finances, and relationships. Through cultivation of meditation and quieting the mind, individuals can develop intuition and compassionate insight that enhance daily decision-making without escaping reality. She advises reassessing one's lifestyle to remove distractions, seek supportive communities, and prioritize inner stillness. This integration allows spiritual awakening to genuinely uplift life rather than create escapism or denial. The conversation touches on intuitive communication and healing practices that operate beyond physical proximity. Dr. Woollacott describes how focused thought and prayer can create energetic connections with others, including receiving information or transmitting healing intentions remotely. She recounts cases where people experienced prayers or supportive thoughts during crises and addresses the ethical considerations of influencing others energetically, underscoring the importance of respect and boundaries. Mediumship and interactions with departed loved ones are framed within this broader framework of subtle consciousness exchange, though she acknowledges fears and skepticism about potentially negative energies. Throughout the episode, Dr. Woollacott advocates a non-dual view where consciousness is fundamental and pervasive in every cell, living organism, and natural structure, not simply an epiphenomenon of the brain. She differentiates between consciousness residing in the brain and the brain producing consciousness. The brain is more a receiver and filter than the originator of awareness. This leads to a more expansive understanding that the self is interconnected with all existence, and that deeper reality transcends ordinary sensory perception and time-bound experience. Drawing from psychological and spiritual teachings, including Jungian ideas, the discussion highlights multiple layers of consciousness: waking, subconscious, dream, and superconscious states. Dream states, especially when consciously accessed through meditation or hypnosis, can enable access to profound truths, precognitive knowledge, and healing memories. Superconscious states involve even broader expansions of awareness, connectedness, and the dissolution of ego boundaries. Accessing these states facilitates integration of spiritual insights into lived reality, opening doors to healing and transformation. Dr. Woollacott openly discusses the natural oscillation between skepticism and spiritual belief that characterized her own journey. She offers a model of open-minded skepticism, where experiences are held with curiosity, but also discernment, and where belief is tested yet never prematurely dismissed. She acknowledges scientific demands for replicability and causality, noting that some spiritual phenomena may operate outside these paradigms. By embracing both empirical inquiry and first-person experience, she advocates for a balanced approach that invites exploration while remaining firmly tethered to reality. A recurring theme is the critical role of supportive environments and like-minded communities in fostering spiritual development and the awakening process. Dr. Woollacott notes that emotionally charged or intentional group settings enhance the likelihood of accessing deeper states of consciousness and extraordinary experiences. She encourages shifting social circles to align with values of openness and growth, pointing out that association with skeptics or heavily materialistic peers can dampen spiritual progress. Cultivating wholesome relationships and reducing distractions are practical steps toward greater equilibrium. The dialogue extends into the evolving science of mind-body connections, including placebo effects and epigenetics. Dr. Woollacott explains how belief and focused intention can modulate physiological processes, influence gene expression, and alter health outcomes. She shares examples of individuals healing from serious illnesses through shifts in mindset and spiritual engagement. This underscores the potential power of consciousness in modulating biology, suggesting avenues where science and spirituality converge for tangible healing. As extraordinary capacities, such as telepathy, remote viewing, and intuitive influence become accessible, questions arise about ethical use. Dr. Woollacott recounts a childhood story illustrating early recognition of boundaries in psychic interactions, highlighting the importance of respect for others' autonomy. She encourages using such abilities for compassion, healing, and positive outcomes rather than manipulation or personal gain. The interconnected nature of consciousness demands responsibility and mindfulness in navigating these expanded faculties. The conversation concludes with guidance for listeners seeking to awaken intuitiveness and harness spiritual insights in everyday life. Simple practices like meditation, surrendering intellectual control, observing synchronicities, and mentally rehearsing difficult conversations create pathways toward expanded perception and emotional resilience. Dr. Woollacott advises embracing variability in experiences without self-judgment, being patient with progress, and blending scientific understanding with heartfelt exploration. She invites exploration of her books and collaborations, emphasizing that this integration offers a way to thrive personally while contributing positively to the world.